Hey everybody, it's Shaman Sister Sin, and you're listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by littleshaman.org. That's me, the Little Shaman. Today I wanted to talk to you about how narcissism affects people. We sometimes hear people say things like, oh, and then he went right back to being narcissistic, or she was normal for 2 days and then right back to being a narcissist. Now that's understandable, but it's a misunderstanding of the way pathological narcissism affects somebody, particularly if they actually have a personality disorder. When someone has a personality disorder, the personality itself is disordered. This means that there is no time or situation where this disorder is not present. There is no moment in this person's life where the disordered functioning is not affecting them. People tend to believe that when someone's not acting out, that's their normal, and a deviation from that is abnormal. For pathologically narcissistic people, however, this is their normal, all of it, the whole thing. The hysteria, the anger, the kindness, the constant splitting and black and white thinking, the manipulation, even when they're behaving, quote, normally, they're still being affected by disordered thinking. It permeates every aspect of their life, whether you see it or not. If it truly doesn't, it's likely that they're probably not pathologically narcissistic then. When someone is pathologically narcissistic, everything about them is colored by that. Their behavior, their thinking, their perception, their thoughts, their feelings, everything. When we say pathologically narcissistic, we are saying this person has such strong and rigid narcissistic traits that they're either unwilling or unable to adapt their behavior and their thinking, even when it's in their own best interest to do so. For example, someone who likes their job and wants to work but is unable or unwilling to stop engaging in behaviors that result in them being fired. Or for another example, someone who doesn't want their marriage to end, but is either unwilling or unable to stop doing the things that are destroying it. The problem with pathologically narcissistic people is that the way their disordered mindset evolved is out of a need to protect them, usually from unfair criticism or abuse when they were a kid. Unfortunately, this has now become pathological and dysfunctional. Therefore, everything is now identified as criticism and abuse. This means the narcissist hears none of it in any way that matters. Their mind has evolved to simply shut these hurtful things out, or worse, to integrate them into their own ugly picture of themselves, which they abuse themselves for. This is the true tragedy of narcissism, because without being able to understand or even hear what the problem is, they can't fix it. They identify these things as abuse or a threat and react with hurt, anger, and denial instead of looking for ways to fix the problem. They will simply continue on with the same behavior, unable or unwilling to understand what's going wrong. Things will just keep getting worse, and they will keep outwardly blaming other people and inwardly believing it's because they are inherently unlovable and broken without ever even realizing they have the power to fix this. When you're dealing with a pathologically narcissistic person, realize that you are dealing with narcissism all the time. It does not go away. It does not stop. At any moment, the situation could change. These are unstable, volatile people with no grounded center and no true ability to regulate their emotions. More importantly, you are speaking to them through a filter. They are hearing you through a filter, and that is the filter of their narcissism. Everything you say is received through this filter. Everything you do is viewed through that filter, and everything they feel is processed through it. If you had contacts in your eyes that tinted everything pink, and then I asked you to identify the color white, you would not be able to do that because everything looks pink to you. Every color would be distorted in your vision because your perception is affected. Now let's pretend it's always been that way for you and you've never known anything different. How hard do you think it would be for you to believe that the way you are seeing and perceiving everything is different or wrong? This is what it's like for pathologically narcissistic people. This is why so many narcissistic people accuse their loved ones of gaslighting, of manipulation, of narcissism. In some situations, it's just projection, but in others, to the narcissist, it really looks like that's what you're doing. They don't see it the way that you do. They never have, and it's likely they're never going to. They believe that feelings are facts, and you're telling them that they have their fact wrong. You are presenting a completely different story than the way that they experience things. To them, this looks like a deliberate attempt to deceive, manipulate, or trick them. Of course, they already believe that you would do that, so this just makes them more sure of that. Now you're being cruel to them and you're trying to gaslight them into believing that you're not. You are dastardly indeed. This is what leads so many people to record their conversations with narcissistic people in their lives. They feel that they need a touchstone of tangible reality to work from because the narcissistic person sees things so differently. Now, many narcissistic people level abuse accusations at their loved ones out of spite or because they're trying to hide their own abusive behavior, but many others seem to actually believe they are being treated badly. In the end, though, it doesn't really matter why somebody behaves this way because you're not going to be able to change their mind. You're not going to be different. You're not going to be the one that gets through because these people have a vested interest in things staying exactly the way they are, and that reason has nothing to do with you. I hope this clears a few things up for you. As always, I look forward to your comments, questions, and suggestions, so please keep those coming. I take appointments online and over the phone, so if you're interested in speaking with me, you can visit littleshaman.org and click the Book an Appointment tab to go ahead and do that. Or you can use the link that's available in the information section of this video. You've been listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by littleshaman.org. That's me, the Little Shaman. May the Great Spirit bless you and have a wonderful day.